Also, CEO of Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, Kwesi Agyemang has denied claims suggesting there are political undertones behind the summary dismissal of some 92 workers of the DVLA last week, Friday. The employees, largely administrative staffs, were employed between September and December 2016 by the former management under the past government. Now, suggestions were rife that the dismissed workers formed part of the last-minute appointment by the previous government. Kwesi Agyemang has been speaking with Elton John Brobe.
What led to their contracts terminated? Right. So when I came on board, I started looking at several areas. I looked at the people, the most foundation of everything we have to do, meaning the employees, and see if they are well matched to their roles, and whether they have a way for a career path, and whether we have a performance matrix in place, goals and objectives, those things. I also looked at processes, and I looked at technology, the things that we can do to improve what our mandate is, which is vehicle driver driver vehicle licensing. I found out in the human resource area that we're a little bloated on our payroll. We are operationally independent now. What that means is that we pay ourselves. We are not under government subvention. As we looked at this critically, we came to the conclusion that there are people on the payroll that really we're not getting the big bang for our buck, meaning on a day-to-day basis, some will come and complain that they've been here for months and they're not sure what they're doing in terms of their everyday work effort. We looked at several models of how we could streamline, realign our human resource. We have a consultant in-house trying to do just that. But it became clear that we needed, based on our exposure in our contracts and the things that we had to do, that we needed to cut back. The most vulnerable group, as we looked at the different models, was those who were on probation, meaning under 6 months. We talked to legal to understand what the rules of engagement are. When you're under probation, the rules of engagement clearly states under collective agreement that you could leave or we could terminate your employment, if you will, at will. But we also had to give you either 14 days notice or a month's salary in lieu of. We looked at that. We made sure that even if you're under 6 months, you're not in a critical position, and that we won't cut our noses to spite our face. We could let you go whilst we go ahead with our realignment on the human resources area. So those who were let go are basically those who were on probation and those who came in the December timeframe for the most part. So they're still under the 6-month threshold.
There are those who feel that this may be politically motivated. I don't know your response to this, more especially when these people were employed right after the December general elections.
I've heard that, and there's nothing further from the truth. When the December election happened, post that, elections were over. We are not looking at political jerseys at all. It has nothing to do with it. It had everything to do with financial sustenance. And so, yes, I've heard that interpretation. It cannot be substantiated. I've even heard that we are taking away 90 to bring 90 NDCS to bring in 50 NPP people. First of all, the arithmetic doesn't add up. I don't think that's what. This is a difficult place. This is a difficult decision to make. Whenever you have to let your employees go, I look at it this way. When one person is let go, you're probably looking at a 5 people impact. And so this was not a decision that was taken lightly. We are actually even looking at areas where we can make exceptions. For example, if you're the only capture person in some of our processes, there's an area called capture, meaning your bio and that sort of thing. We will look at it and say, we're in Winneba, as an example, you're the only person doing this and you're under 6 months. We will not cut our noses to spite our face. We'll maintain you. Yeah. because it just makes sense that the customers be served the next morning. So we've had situations like that we are looking at and trying to see how mathematically it will add up in the number that we're looking at to cut and also to manage our revenue retention. So it's a difficult time. But yes, go ahead.
But those who did employment in December, is it the case that the financial strength of DVLA was not considered before allowing these over 90 people their employment status rectified?
Right. It's a very good question. I wish I could answer that in honesty. As you know, that was before my time. I inherited these people. I'm not too sure what the criteria was, but I came to be and I accepted that this is mine. I inherited and I own it now. So I have, like I said, consultants in-house trying to find out where we can place people effectively, have a role definition, description, objectives, performance matrix, that sort of thing. That's ongoing. I don't know why we got overbloated and the reason for my predecessor and others to bring them in. But the fact remains that they are ours now, and I was trying to find a way to contain. I realized that even as we have new products and new processes in place, to carry that would have been difficult. And so I don't know the answer to that, but I know the answer to what we have done and why we did it.
Some will say that 90 people, and if DVLA with all its financial strength cannot contain them, then really it's a problem. What is the financial strategy of the company you inherited?
It's a good question, but listen, the Goro menace is not new to anybody. I have plans in place to sidestep that, to reduce that. And in the next few months, you'll begin to see the steps that we are taking in trying to reduce the human-to-human interaction, have computerization take place, and gradually find ways to reduce, if not totally eliminate, the impact of Goroism. Yes, the authority should be able to contain these things, but I have contracts. Every time I make a payment to one of the big ones, we stutter simply because we were overcommitted when I came in. I think the cash flow, the source of funds was not critically looked at. It will amaze you that some of these contracts, on the day of inception, the vendor gets 60, 70% of the money, which I think doesn't even make sense. You're about to work for me. At the time that the ink dries on the paper, you already have been paid 60% of the effort of the work that you're supposed to do. These things led to where we're not in a cash crunch where we can't survive, but if we continue on that path without new products, without optimizing our services, we're going to really feel the pinch. And I didn't want to get to that zone. And so we had to take some hard decisions. It has to get tough before it gets better. This is a tough time. And like I said, there are plans afoot to ease up the stress of having to pay obligations and move forward. And so this was a hard decision, but I had to do it.
The local union chairman tells us that those on contract may be allowed to stay. I don't know if that is a decision of management going forward.
I will have to talk to him about that. I'm not too sure what he means by those on contract will be allowed to stay. It's not a decision management has made. We're looking critically. We were in a meeting this morning at exceptional cases. There's not been mention about those on contract. Now, I have, since I came on board, brought contractors in to do specific works with definite begin, definite end, like Lene Services working on our human resource. That ends in about 30 to 45 days. That is a contract that ends when it ends. But he may be referring to something I'm not aware of. I need to talk to him about that.
But would the 90 be the last, or we are likely to see more layoffs?
No, we are not likely to see more. This is a one-off. We don't intend to have waves of this. This was the magic number that we came up with was actually 92 in terms of what we're trying to get to. I think we can't get there. We will have to do some exceptional cases. We may be short by 5 or 4 or 6, but at that point, it really doesn't matter. So the answer to your question is no, I don't anticipate more layoffs. This is it.
It has to get tough before it gets better. That's what CEO of the DVLA is saying. Kwesi Ajaman Bozia is a new CEO of the place, and you know all the issues bedeviling the DVLA. He says that the DVLA had to take tough decisions to make the place better. All right, but he's not sure if there will be more of people going home from the place. We know 92 already are home, or whether they're on their way or they're already home. We know they're there already, but he doesn't know if more of them